I would have thought that after 5.5 years of doing this, the Gran Turismo esports stewards would know how to do their job properly, and yet in the most recent World Finals, they put in perhaps their worst performance to date. Our descent into madness starts in the Toyota Cup Grand Final. Coque Lopez has a deserved penalty, so what's important here is that Pol Ura leads, but Kokubun on the softer tyres is chasing.
Oh, there's an incident under investigation between Kokubun and Serrano. That's another twist in the tail. Oh, Kokubun, 1 second penalty.
Boys, come on.
Though Lopez still leads, he also has dead tyres, so this pass from Kokubun is effectively for the lead, or it would be if not for that penalty, which is going to drop him back behind Ura. But what was the penalty for?
So coming through in towards the final couple of corners we go then. Oh, no, sorry, this is turn 4 actually. On the inside, a bit of hip and shoulder there with Serrano. It was a.
Even if we assume that there was contact here, which is difficult to determine based on the angle they gave us, this has never been a penalty in the Gran Turismo World Series. Think back to last year when Coque Lopez made that forceful move on Inestrosa to win the Nations Cup, or the Olympic esports event where Drew Mont also made contact with Inestrosa on his way to taking the lead. Neither driver was penalised, so why is it only now that a strict no-contact policy is being enforced? Well, that's easy to answer. Serrano, Ura and Lopez are all Spaniards, and this was the easiest way to ensure a Spanish victory. Kokomo did drop back behind Ura, and because his tyres were also dying, could not get back around a second time. Next up, we have a manufacturer's incident that seemed like a penalty in real time, but really isn't when you analyse it.
Let's see if we can piece together what's happened here. This is Porsche versus Honda on lap 1.
Yeah, there it is. Porsche dives in there, causes contact between Honda and AMG. And basically, I think that's a pretty slam dunk penalty to Porsche, I think, there, Tom.
I don't agree, and I'll explain why, starting from the first frame where I can see the Honda's brake lights turn on. They're going straight. The Porsche driven by Inestrosa is late on the brakes, but the gap is there. But then Pessoa in the Honda suddenly swerves left into the Porsche's path, which doesn't make sense to me because if you're worried about hitting the car in front, the bailout here is to go right, but because they went left, Inestrosa's got nowhere to go and ends up colliding into both him and the Mercedes in front. Because the stewards did not make that level of analysis, they just gave him a 2-second penalty. Thankfully, this was only the qualifying race setting the grid for the final, so it wasn't a big deal, but what was a big deal was this.
Be at fault for that first corner incident.
Unsurprisingly, so do the stewards there. A 1-second penalty, I think. Let's see a replay of what happened, though, between Genesis and Lamborghini. So here's Genesis, Lambo in front, coming down to T1, and, I mean...
Top tyres, isn't it?
1 second for that?
The images speak for themselves. Wet pit exit or not, there is no excuse to use another car as a brake like this and cause that car to lose 5 positions. Romero had plenty of time to swerve out of the way and avoid this accident and didn't. Yet, instead of being dropped off the back like they should have been, Genesis was given a slap on the wrist that allowed them to still be in contention for the podium when this final incident happens, and allows them to get a completely undeserved result. How convenient for all of this to happen on the same night that the new Genesis Vision GT was revealed. Thankfully, the standards got better in the Nations Cup, though even that comes with a caveat, because it took Spain themselves getting punted off for the stewards to make a firm and decisive action against another team. But that was only for major incidents. Minor incidents were usually just given a warning, which, fair enough, not every incident has to be penalised, but when a single team gets 4 warnings across 2 races, including 3 in a single race, it doesn't make sense to only give them final warning, because it makes the warning seem pointless when you can be on so many warnings and yet not have a penalty yet. I know that one was a nitpick, but after 2 straight days of outcome-altering boners, I think I'm allowed 1 nitpick against the stewards. I'm not nitpicking out of malice, by the way. I want to see the Gran Turismo World Series succeed and become more popular. There were easily over 10,000 people watching this event live when you combine all of the streams together, but when they're presented a situation like Genesis getting a slap on the wrist for blatantly taking another dead car out of the competition, then they're going like, oh, this event sucks. There are a lot of fantastic people, both on camera and behind the scenes, making the Gran Turismo World Series an excellent esports event, and I feel like they're being let down by the stewards because this isn't the first time they've messed up an event to this degree. Hopefully, it'll be the last.